Hey y'all, it's Brooke, and 3 weeks ago I successfully completed my first 100K, and so I wanted to share what gear I used throughout the race so that for your next long distance race, you can have some gear ideas. Just a little context of the race that I did. It was 100K, which for my fellow Americans is about 62 miles on the trail in Central Texas and hill country. It was moderately technical and the temperature got up to about 85 degrees, and I finished the race in about 16 and a half hours. The race was rather heavily aided every 5 to 7 miles, so I never went too long without seeing my crew, and so my gear list might be a little different than somebody who's running a remote race in the mountains. I'm not sponsored by any of these pieces of gear. These are all gear that I love and use just because I like it. I will link everything that I talk about down below. I'm gonna be a team player here and start with the shoes that I used because I know that's probably one of the biggest pieces of gear people are curious about. To pay me back for that, I need you to like this video and subscribe to our channel. These are the shoes that I used for the whole race. They're the Altra Olympus 275s. You can see they still have dirt on them. If you know me, you know that I am an Altra stan. I pretty much only wear Altra models on the trail. These are the best shoe that I've ever ran in. I ran my 50K a year ago in the Altra Timps. I liked them, but about halfway through the race, the bottoms of my feet were really hurting, and I knew that I would probably need more cushion for my next big ultra. Decided I wanted to try the Olympus models of Altra. So I tried the Olympus 6s first, and for whatever reason, my foot shape just does not vibe with that shoe, and I get really bad blisters in my heels. So I tried the Olympus 275s. These have a similar cushion to the Olympus 6s, but they're a lighter model. I only got 2 blisters from the entire race on the outsides of my big toes. I have no complaints about these shoes. I would recommend them to anybody who's looking for a more cushiony shoe with a higher stack and zero drop. The only downside to these shoes is they're very expensive. They're definitely on the higher end of what I would pay for a shoe. Unfortunately for my wallet, I really ended up liking them. I will be purchasing more of these shoes in the future. The next piece of gear I used for my 100K was my watch. This is an Instinct Solar. It's the first model of the Solars, but as the name suggests, it does charge if exposed to the sun. It ended up lasting the whole race with about probably 35% battery left over. I really like this watch. This was my second model of Garmin watch that I have used, and I really have no complaints. It is a little large on my wrist just because I have smaller wrists, but that's really my only complaint here. Because it is like the first model of the Instinct Solars, it doesn't have some of the fancy metrics that the newer Garmin watches have. So it doesn't have like VO2 max, it doesn't have your HRV or anything like that in the app. I think they're up to the Instinct Solar 3. If you care about that stuff, you can look into the newer models, but it did charge. I checked like the solar exposure during the race after I finished, and it did end up charging during the race, probably because I was fully exposed to the sun for like 80% of the course. So it had a lot of opportunities to absorb some sun rays. It did what I needed it to do, and I'll continue to use it. For my socks, I use these specific Smartwool socks. They are the running thickness. They're one of the thinnest socks that they have. I actually prefer these over my thicker hiking ones because I think that they're lighter and they just don't feel as stiff. Also, I was sweating a lot because of how hot it was, and so it was just really nice to have a lightweight sock. I've had these for a couple years now, and I use them regularly, and they have no holes or anything like that. This is the vest that I used for the race, Salomon Active Skin 8. I switched between my vest and my belt depending on how long it was between aids. So on the longer stretches, I did use my vest because it was so hot. I wanted to be able to carry regular water and electrolytes at the same time. I have a love-hate relationship with this vest, okay? I love how light it is. Some of the other vests, like the Nathan one in particular, that I've also tried feel really bulky to me, and they have like a lot of buckles that make it seem heavier, and so I really like how light this one feels. However, I have had some issues with the mesh part of the vest. The mesh also has some holes in it now, and you can see where I've had to like sew the mesh because it got so stretched out that it was bouncing off of my rib cage when I was running, and it was really annoying. I just had to play vest doctor, and it was really scary because vests are expensive and I didn't want to mess it up. I don't know how to sew, obviously, from my stitching, but I sewed her up. I kind of folded the fabric underneath. So I like how light it is. I like that it can fit everything that I need, but the mesh for some reason on my vest in particular is really messed up. I did try to find other people who agreed with me. I was trying to find like a Reddit page r/Salomon vest with saggy mesh, and it just didn't exist. So I don't know if it's just me. I don't know if this vest is gonna last much longer, and I'm not really sure what I'm gonna get next, but this is probably the one piece of gear that I was like meh on, just because I've had to like modify it so much and it's so expensive that I'm like, I shouldn't have to modify or I shouldn't have to fix the vest after like a year of owning it. Kind of going along with the vest, these are all of the bottles that I use for the vest. I'm a use what you have kind of girly, so I just got the ones that we have out of our cabinet. So it's kind of a hodgepodge mix here. This is the one that comes with the Salomon vest that I just showed you. If you are Salomon right now, I need you to listen to me. Why did you make the opening so small? Okay, look at how small it is compared to this Hydra Pack one. Okay, it's pretty much borderline impossible to fill the Salomon ones with electrolyte powder unless you have a funnel, which I'm not going to carry a funnel around. So I don't know why they did that. I hope that they have since fixed that. I do not like these. I can only put water in them, which is why I have 3 other flasks with the large caps on it so that I can actually put electrolytes in them. These are all 500 ml size. When I wasn't wearing my vest, I had a belt bottle combo on the shorter sections where I was gonna see my crew in the next 5 or less miles. I would wear this flip belt. So that's the belt that I like to use. It has all of these pockets, and then it has like a zipper pocket on the back that I like to put my phone in. I've used this for the past 3 years since I started getting into running, and I basically have no complaints about it. I really like it. I see some people with like smaller belts that do a lot of bouncing, and I really don't think I could get behind those. So this one doesn't bounce at all. It kind of takes the shape of your waistline. The bottle that I used is the Amphipod. I don't know what size it is, but it's one of the bigger ones. We have a lot of handheld bottles, and I chose this one because it's like our medium-sized one that we have. It's one of the only ones that doesn't leak water everywhere. So I really like this one. You can tell it's had a lot of use. It's also very minimal with the hand strap. A lot of the other bottles, like some of the Nathan ones, have like a lot of pockets and stuff on them that makes the bottle heavier and just clunkier to carry around. And so I really like how minimal the strap is on this one. This is the hat I wore. Since it was so exposed, I did wear this hat the whole time. They have a lot of colors. This is obviously the pink one, and I have a smaller head and it fits really nicely. I also like that it's all soft-sided, so I can kind of put it in my vest or probably even in my belt if I wanted to, and it dries really quickly. I really like this hat. It was worth the investment. I wear it all the time on my runs. I did eventually end up running in the dark, so I had some headlamps. I ended up using 3 different headlamps. The first one is this newer one that we got. It's the Nitecore NU25 UL. It's very minimal. It did not last the whole time, unfortunately, even though it was fully charged, and so I had some backups. This was my second backup. We have used these Petzl Bindies for backpacking a lot. It's really similar to that other one. It's just a little simpler, and this also died. So then I ended up finishing the race with this big clunky Coast one that we usually use for camping, but it got me through the night. I don't really have a good recommendation for a multi-hour headlamp race, but I would definitely bring you some backups. So if you have any good headlamp recommendations, leave them in the comments below. This isn't something that I carried with me, obviously, but my crew had this at every aid station for me. It's this little Helinox camp chair. It's a lightweight camp chair. You don't have to get the Helinox one. There's cheaper versions at like Walmart and stuff, but this was really nice to have at each aid station so that I could sit down for a couple minutes, and it was really easy for the crew to carry around. It can literally fit in a backpack or a tote bag. So I really enjoy this camp chair. We've had it for years and have brought it backpacking and all kinds of stuff. So we're gonna get into my outfit now. My shorts were the 7-inch flowy running shorts. They are the Baleaf brand off of Amazon. These are okay. So the problem is I cannot do running shorts that are shorter than 7 inches because I really hate when my legs rub together. I wanted to find longer shorts, but I also don't like using biker shorts because I feel like when they get sweaty, they stick to you, and I don't like that either. So I wanted some flowy shorts, kind of like Courtney Dauwalter style-esque, for my own comfort. And I have 3 pairs of these, and they're fine except for when I do these long events, like for my 50K and now for my 100K, they do get holes in the inseam area that I have to repair, or rather my friend with a sewing machine repairs for me. They don't really do it during my training on the shorter runs, but for each of my longer ultra events now, I have gotten holes in the inseam, which is really annoying. They have like a built-in liner here, so I don't usually wear underwear with them. I go commando. For my sports bra for my girlies, this is from Gymshark. I really like the material of these. They're very soft and they dry fast. These are my favorite to use. For my shirt, I'm gonna be so for real. I've had this shirt since I was in like 8th grade. It's from Pink. It's just this like dry fit tank top. I'll link a similar one because I'm sure they don't sell this exact one anymore. At about halfway through the race, I did put on some music, and I just have these cheap wired headphones from Amazon so that if they get wet and break or anything, I'm not too upset. I usually don't use Bluetooth ones on my longer runs because I don't want to have like any issues with them connecting, and also they just don't have enough battery life for the most part. I just like using corded ones just so that there's no issues. I will say these particular ones, they have like this volume thing on there, but I wish that they had like a pause button or like a skip button or something, because it is kind of annoying when I have to take out my phone. But that's really all it took for me to finish my 100K. Whatever my next race is, I'll probably use similar gear. If you have any thoughts or recommendations, please leave them below, and remember to subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye!